أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We continue on in our traditions in these weekly thoughts, and as we have been going through this month of Muharram, and now we have also obviously embarked upon the month of Safar, the second month of the lunar calendar, we continue to remember the supreme sacrifice of Imam Husayn alayhi salam, the tragedy which befell him and his family and the noble companions. May God's peace and blessings be upon all of them. And we continue to reflect upon the words of wisdom taught to us by the Prophet and his successors of the importance of safeguarding the mission of Imam Husayn and keeping its remembrance alive within our hearts, within our society, and in the public in general. Today we want to look at a very beautiful hadith, a very inspirational statement, a very thought-provoking piece of advice that we have from the fifth Imam, Muhammad ibn Ali al-Baqir, may God's peace and blessings be upon him, in which he reminds us of the importance of keeping alive the legacy of Imam Husayn through our words, through our speech, through conveying the message of Imam Husayn in any way possible. And that if this remembrance, if this recounting of the tragedy, if it moves the heart of even one individual of what kind of a potential reward is ready for us in the world to come in paradise. And this should be an encouragement to each and every one of us to do all that we can do to keep alive the memory of Imam Husayn. May God's peace and blessings be upon him. And in the tradition for today, we read the following, as has been reported to have come to us from the fifth Imam, where he states the following: He who remembers us, meaning the Ahlul Bayt, or in whose presence we are remembered, and as a result tears flow from his eyes, even though they may be in the measure of the wing of a mosquito, Allah shall construct for him a house in paradise and make the tears a barrier between him and the fire of hell. This very beautiful tradition shows us the importance of keeping alive the legacy of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. As we mentioned, that whatever it is that we as individuals can do to keep this memory alive, whether it be lecturing, whether it be writing poetry, whether it be even a blog or a video, or some form of remembrance on social media as an example, or within our circle of friends or community members, anything in which we are able to move our hearts and the hearts of those believers to tears over what happened on that tragic day of Ashura, and even what happened before and after the tragic events of the massacre on the day of Ashura in Karbala, that this, as the Imam shows us, were we to shed a tear, and that tear were to be the size of the wing of a mosquito. Now we know mosquitoes to be such a small creature, such a small insect, but a fly or a mosquito as small as that creature is, the Imam tells us that were we to shed a tear, a simple drop of tear will come to our eyes in the size of the wing of that small insect, that this would actually be a form of a safeguarding and a protection for us in the world to come. That we would be having a house constructed for us in paradise by Allah, and that those tears, that single tear in fact, would be a barrier, a protection between us and the fire of hell. And definitely we all seek protection from the fire of hell, and we all look for pleasures in paradise. We all look for God to give us mansions, as some verses of the Quran allude to, and as some of the hadith speak about. And this beautiful tradition shows us that if we are able to move and to be spiritually stirred and awakened by the tragedy of Karbala, and a tear is to come from our eyes, that this in itself, if it helps us to change and reform ourselves, that we are being given an opportunity to make it to paradise in a very quick and a very easy fashion, and that we would be protected from the tribulations of the fire of hell. Now obviously we have to complete the understanding of this hadith and realize that we need to make a change in our lives. It's not enough to simply hear or to listen to the message of Imam Husayn and shed a tear, but those tears, that listening of the message has to make us change inside, to cause an internal revolution from his external revolution. And if we are to do so, then we would be worthy of being the benefactors of what this hadith talks about, namely a home in paradise and protection from the fire of hell. So as we continue to mark and lament over the tragedy of Karbala, let us try to change ourselves internally when we hear of the message of Imam Husayn and the tragedies that he and his family had gone through and suffered on the day of Ashura and well beyond. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.